It's an important story from the New York Times from David Kirkpatrick, and if they've got the story right, it's all over. There isn't going to be a public option. And, you know, all this back and forth, is there going to be one, is there not going to be one, you know, the drama, the House version, the Senate version, and then there's the compromise in the Energy Committee, but what's happening in the Health Committee, etc. Well, if the New York Times has this story right, all of it is nonsense. None of it matters. They've already made a deal. The Obama administration apparently made a deal with the lobbyists for the insurance companies, the hospital companies, and the pharmaceutical companies. And the Senate Finance Committee is involved in that deal. And that the only committee that really matters is the Finance Committee. That they're going to go ahead and pretty much ignore all the other committees, and they're going to say, look, Max Baucus, the guy who's taken nearly $4 million from the healthcare industry, and his Republican friends, Grassley, Enzi, etc., in that Finance Committee, have come up with a bipartisan compromise, and shockingly enough, it's going to include no public plan, no negotiation from the government on prices that they pay for prescription drugs, just like George Bush had it. Now, Obama will get some things in return. He's not a total sucker. It's not like he's doing this for nothing. He's apparently got $80 billion in concessions from the pharmaceutical companies, $155 billion in concessions from the hospitals, etc. Now, whether they actually deliver on those concessions later, well, we'll see about that. And by the way, someone else has, Huffington Post actually found a memo, and we don't know if that's correct either. Of course, Obama and the industry swear up and down it's not true. But they have an inside source that says what that deal actually is. And in that memo, the pharmaceutical companies, for example, say, look, we'll have savings of up to $80 billion, but definitely no more. But we'll see if we get up there. In other words, yeah, good luck to you, right? So they have these deals, you get something out of it, you'll get more universal coverage, not complete, but close. But the healthcare industry loves that. They're like, what, you're going to have more people paying us premiums as we continue to jack up the rates? We love it. Sure. Yeah, we'll compromise on that. Wink. So now, what is the evidence that they have for this, other than their sources within the administration and within the Finance Committee and within the lobbyists, right? It's that Obama has nearly not talked at all, almost, to any of the other committees, whether they're in the House or in the Senate. But he talks to Max Baucus bi-weekly, on a very regular basis. He's the head of the Finance Committee for the Democrats. And he even talks to Chuck Grassley, the Republican in charge of, on the minority side in the Finance Committee, also on a regular basis. Now, why has he got them on the phone all the time if those aren't the guys he's actually working with? You think after all that work and talking to them over and over again and working out all these deals with the lobbyists and the corporations that they're going to say, oh, we were kidding, we're just going to go with the House version instead? No, that's the real deal. And when you ask the insurance companies and the other healthcare companies involved, they say if there is a public option, then we got no deal. Because that's the one thing that will actually lower costs. And we don't want that under any circumstances. So this reform, if these stories are true, is a joke. And it's a joke being played on you. Now, if Obama actually goes through all the way with this and they play their little theater and they play their games, and at the end of all that drama, you get exactly what we suspected now, given the information we have, that it's the Finance Committee version that wins. It has no public option. It has no negotiating with the pharmaceutical companies. We just pay them the higher rates. And then they promise they'll give us some money later, maybe. Well, then we just got had. And you know what you need then? Then it turns out there ain't no real change. Okay? There's no real reform. That means you need another party. The Republicans, of course, are the most useless party in the history of the world. They're a wholly owned subsidiary of all of these corporations. They would never do anything that their, overlords tell them not to do, right? So that's obvious. But the Democrats, yeah, they're better. They got some concessions Bush didn't even care to get at all. Yes, they cover more people, but are they real change? Not really. I don't see any other choice. You got to go ahead and almost start a whole new party, the Progressive Party. Now, Howard Dean is saying, look, if there is no public option in the final analysis, we will run primary opponents against these Democratic senators, and if the congressmen vote against them, the congressmen as well. Now, you absolutely, positively need that threat. There's no question about it. And now, he did that threat after we find out from Politico that the healthcare industry has another threat. They say, look, if we don't get everything we want in this deal, the deal that we worked out secretly with the Obama administration and the Finance Committee, then we've got all these ads ready to go, and we will turn around on a dime and run every single ad to make sure we kill this bill. Politico has several lobbyists from the healthcare industry saying on the record, oh, if we don't get what we want, you can bet your bottom dollar that we will kill this bill. So now, if we're sure that the industry is going to get exactly what they want, and then why do we want it? It doesn't make any sense. That's not real change. They're going to continue to make killer profits, you could almost say quite literally, and we're going to get stuck with the bill. And then, so if the industry doesn't turn on this bill and doesn't start running these negative attack ads that they already have made, they've already produced some of them, okay? They're just waiting to press the button. If they don't run those ads, you know we got really screwed because they're ecstatic about what happened. I mean, you think the pharmaceutical companies are going to run $150 million in favor of a reform package if it was real reform? No, they already have the agreement. This is devastating news. Maybe I'm a sucker for having ever believed that there was any real, question as to what was going to happen here. Now, the process is not over, and the New York Times could be wrong, and so the Huffington Post could be wrong about their inside source, and the other people reporting these could be a little misdirected, or it could have been a miscommunication, and maybe they're certainly still talking. There is no definitive deal, right? They're still working out on some of the details, but the essence of it is no public option and no negotiation with the pharmaceutical companies. So if it turns out in the end that is the real deal, this system is fundamentally broken, and we're never going to get change from the Republicans or the Democrats. Until we fix the fact that our politicians are completely bought by the corporations, by the rich, by the lobbyists, by the people, whoever gives them money. I'm not trying to put it on the rich or the corporations. They just happen to have money, and they're like, well, if they're for sale, I'm not stupid. I'll buy them. It's an easy way to, make a lot of money. People that don't want to do public financing of campaigns say, oh, I don't want to give welfare to the politicians. Listen, you schmucks, they're getting paid either way. The only question is, are we going to pay them, and hence they work for us, or are the lobbyists going to pay them, and hence they work for them? And that's the system we have now, and if we get a nonsense, total BS healthcare package here that does not include any of the critical elements that it needs, most importantly the public option, then you know it's a fraud, the system is broken, and the Democrats don't have a prayer of fixing it. Now that's a strong statement, not a prayer. Why? They have the president, one who campaigned on change, who specifically campaigned that he was going to negotiate lower prices with the pharmaceutical companies, the one who said he was going to do the public option. They not only have the Senate and the House, they have 60 senators, filibuster-proof. It does not get any more dominant than this. And if they still don't deliver, well, they never meant to deliver in the first place. And they certainly won't deliver in the future. You got to change the system. Now, it's not done yet. We'll see. If these stories are true, then we need a revolution. Okay? I don't mean like the right-wingers. I don't need you to bring guns anywhere, and I don't need you to quote the Tree of Liberty. I'm talking about a political revolution that fundamentally changes the system, because this system is rigged for the powerful and the wealthy, and it is rigged against us.